Welcome to Trading Ideas for the week of June 13th, 2022. Last week, it was all about inflation numbers and consequently the consumer sentiment, which hit their lowest since the beginning of keeping that track. And I think this summarizes that. We will have a very busy week this coming week, not from the earnings front, but rather from the economic point of view. So I want to make sure you pay attention to that. I put them in the red, so those are the most important one. But nevertheless, we start on Monday and we start with Turkey, which will have their industrial production and retail sales. Spain will have their consumer confidence. And we want to pay attention to India and Germany regarding the inflation rate, as India just increased their interest rates last week. So pay attention to that. And in the meantime, Great Britain will have their unemployment rate. We have one major earnings, and that will be after close on Monday, and that's Oracle. On Tuesday, we have the Euro area and Germany, and they have this economic sentiment index, which after seeing what happened last week with the United States, this is important to watch for because of the effect of inflation and psychologically in the minds of consumers. So we want to pay attention to that. Now, we also want to pay attention to the US PPI numbers. We had the CPI last week. That was a consumer side. Now we want to see what the producers are doing. The consensus is going to be 0.8% month over month. So pay attention to that. Well, continuing with the inflation, we talk about Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and France. They will have their inflation rate. Brazil will have their business confidence, South Korea unemployment rate. Australia will have their consumer confidence numbers out, and China will have their industrial production and retail sales. Again, we want to pay attention to that. Now, with the energy, a major topic nowadays, Saudi Arabia will have their OPEC monthly report. On Wednesday, we have the Germany's Bundesbank Nagel speech, and then Eurozone will have the industrial production numbers, and South Africa and also United States will have the retail sales. Now, this is the biggie. The market is really looking forward to see what the FOMC, the US, the Federal Reserve Committee going to decide. The consensus is they're going to increase it by 0.5 or 50 basis point. So the rates will go to 1.5%. If that's the case, market has already priced that in, but will there be any surprises? Will Chairman Powell be very hawkish and maybe go 0.75% increase? What is going to be the tone at 11:30 at press conference, which I would definitely pay attention to that. So keep that in mind. Now, Brazil will come with their interest rate decision. Australia will have unemployment rate, the consumer and inflation expectation, and China will have the house price index. Crude oil inventories, they come out at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Coast time. And if you are a short-term trader, you're a futures trader, you can do our FOMC trade on Wednesday. Thursday, we have Italy's inflation rate. Now, here's another biggie. Great Britain, the Bank of England will also have their interest rate decision. The consensus is that the Bank of England will increase it by 0.25% or 25 basis point, and the rates will go up to 1.25%. US will have housing starts and building permits. Russia will have their GDP numbers. And Japan, another central bank, Bank of Japan, will come up with their interest rate decision. Of course, the world is completely different. They are in a negative rate. They've been there, and the consensus is it's going to stay there, 0% change. So they're going to be still at negative 0.1%. Thursday, don't forget about our gold trade, which was very effective last week. And also we have three big earnings. We have Kroger, Jabil, And then this is before open, and then Adobe, that's really the biggest of the week, will come out after the close. So those are really the earnings that we have. On Friday, the Eurozone will have their inflation rate, and the United States, the Fed Chair Powell will have the speech. We also have industrial production. Canada has their PPI. And as always, at 10 a.m., we have the Baker Hughes oil rig count. Now, do not forget this Friday's option expiration. Every quarter we have triple witching. This will be one, so watch for that, the triple witching option expiration. So usually the volatility increases, not as much as used to, but things become, again, a little volatile because options get rolled and is expiration of the indexes, futures, and equity options. So watch for that. So with that in mind, let's talk about stock of the week. We have chosen NetEase, and NetEase is a Chinese gaming company. It's an online company. And the question will be why at this moment, especially with the ADRs, which are the American Depository Receipts, companies, foreign companies listed, especially Chinese companies. There have been all these questions about them, why we would choose this. And especially the markets have been really, the NASDAQ has been in a bear market, down as of Friday, up 28% from its high. So it's the momentum and the technicals in this situation. So the other thing about NetEase is they are fundamentally very strong. So they are, from composite rating, they're ranked number 90. I mean, they're ranked second, sometimes first. The gaming, their composite rating is 94. The problem is obviously the market direction. You see, we are in a red zone. So that's something we have to be careful. The industry group rank is 75, which is like really in the middle. But the group rating in the gaming, it's a B, so that's good. But fundamentally, we can see the earning per share rating is 84, and their earning per share growth has been tremendous. It's been up 117%. So what we want to look at, the sales are up, they're A-rated. So basically, from that point of view, they're strong. It's the valuation, which might have questions about, but the technicals, as I mentioned, it's very strong. They are $105.65. Their relative strength rating is 94, and they're only 11%. They're a 50 weeks high, and they're actually 11% away from their moving average. They're a large company. You can see the $69.3 billion company. Accumulation has been B+, and up-down volume has been 1.5. So while the markets have been going down, there's been a lot of distribution, they've had accumulation in the stock. Now, when we look at, this is from the Guru Focus, we look at their financial strength, especially when we look at like Petrovsky F score, there are 7, in Altman Z score from the chances of bankruptcy and distress, they are very safe. So profitability, they are 10 out of 10. It's the valuation is the problem, as you can see, except the price sales, which takes their price to 125. Their Group Focus value, they're at 114, a little higher than where it is now. And the discounted cash flow analysis, they're at 147. So when we look at the old traditional valuations, they are overpriced, but then we look at from the profitability and the cash flow analysis and price to sales, they still have room to go. So keep that in mind. And the growth is obviously, this is a growth company, again, with the online gaming, that's important. And when we look at, again, the valuation is a fair valuation, which is never exact. As you can see, it's 114. We are a little undervalued right now. We are in a light green zone. And so basically that's that gives us the fair value. When we look at the chart, this is from Finviz. So let's go and move into a little about the technical side of things. And basically what we can see, we broke out of a wedge about 2 weeks ago. Now, if you go from the low of this base to the top, it's about $35. So from 70 to, let's say, 105. So when we broke approximately about, let's say, 97, that tells us if we go exact classic technical analysis, we should go up about $35 or about 128 target zone. So this will be more of a swing trade, not a long-term trade, but that's something you can pay attention to as from the technical side. Obviously, Friday was an ugly day, but yet we still managed to be up 1.82%. Now, year to date, they're up 3.8%. Their PE ratio for now is 28, but going forward, because of their tremendous growth, they are actually 2.97. So you pay attention to that. Their debt to equity is 0.26. So these are the things we want to, again, take into consideration. They do have full-time 32,064 employees, and they are optionable and they're liquid. As far as we look at the CCI numbers, you see there's a choppiness. The relative strength compared to S&P, you can see how strong it has been, especially from March. We are getting a little overheated, but you can see there's still room to grow. And as we looked at from the breakout, it might be even higher. So, but this is choppiness. It's not a sell signal or anything. It just tells us there's still indecision, and we are right floating around 112, which is above 100. So it is still strength. As far as the last one, I still like to look at the Ichimoku. What I want to look at, as you know, my workspace, we go from daily, weekly, monthly, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, and 10 minutes. As you can see, on a daily basis, we are comfortably above the cloud, above the turning line and standard line. The DMI positive has crossed over negative. The ADX, the trend is strong. When we go to the weekly, we just crossed as far as DMI positive. We don't have a lot of strengths on a weekly basis from the trend point of view, and you can see why. We are right against the top edge of the cloud, which is flat. So that creates a little resistance. But once we break that, then the 120 will be our next target. On a monthly basis, been beautiful. It has been at top of its moving average since actually 2019. And even way before that, we really just went once in 2000 inside the cloud. So those are all strength. So again, China's story, negative markets, yet this stock has been strong. Now, on the short term, this was Friday, we had a gap up, and we just on a 60 minutes, we came and let's see if we stay above that the cloud on 60 minutes. So with that in mind, I hope that was helpful. I wish you a prosperous and wonderful week ahead, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful week.